In today's video, I'm going to tell you whether or not being lean will mean that you are a better performing athlete. Let's go. Hi, I'm Alexa, climate dietitian, sports dietitian, and nutrition coach. Welcome again to one of my videos. Thank you again for watching. Now, obviously, before we get into today's video, remember, subscribe, ring the bell, awesome. One of the biggest held beliefs among athletes and weekend warriors alike is that being lean will make you a high performance machine, that having a six-pack is needed to perform at those higher levels. But how true is this? After all, for many, being lean comes down to an aesthetic goal. Yet many think that it will still make them fitter, faster, stronger, and better. So where is the truth then? Well, time to find out now. The truth is that when it comes to nutrition programming for specifically aesthetic goals, such as getting a six-pack, and nutrition programming for attaining additional performance benefits, they actually fall on different sides of the spectrum on things that you have to focus on and optimize. You can achieve both simultaneously, but not without compromising a bit on one another. And what I mean simply here is that if you're trying to boost performance, like trying to really elevate your performance levels, then your aesthetic goals are gonna take a bit of a hit. And likewise, if you're trying to attain that physique, okay, you're simply focusing on being more aesthetically pleasing to yourself, well then your performance gains are not going to be as optimized as if you were to actually focus on those specific things. In a nutshell, you've got to focus on one at a time if you really want to reach that peak potential, so to speak, in that specific goal, okay, whether it's aesthetic or whether it's performance. An aesthetic here for most people would be looking leaner, having a six-pack, and potentially building more muscle, whereas performance will be anything related specifically to your sport or activity that you do on a weekly basis, whether that's performing better in a basketball game or lifting heavier weights in the gym, and everything in between, of course. Now, it needs to be said that I'm not saying that you can't focus on both. You can, and you can still improve on both. But if you want to really kind of reach those extra levels in a specific goal, you have to focus on the nutrition programming and prescription that is aligned with the focus that you need to have for that specific goal. But I know what you're wondering. You're like, but Alexa, I just want to know, will being lean and shredded and having a six-pack, will that make me a better athlete? Okay, will that lead to extra performance benefits? Well, the answer is still no. Not necessarily, at least. Let me explain. See, what happens is we see these pro athletes and they're ripped, okay? They've got these bodies, they got six packs, they look shredded, okay, generally speaking. And we associate that with high performance, okay? We associate having a body like that as being a better performing athlete. And this here is where the issue lies. Look, when you dedicate your life to a sport, when you dedicate your life to being physically active to that level as these athletes are, being lean and shredded tends to just be a byproduct, okay? It tends to be a byproduct naturally from being that active. As well as this thing called genetics, which is huge when it comes to the body that you can achieve. And because of this, you can't be using others' kind of physique to compare to yourself. You can't be using that to kind of make yourself obsessed of achieving a specific aesthetic goal when they are different in so many different aspects. Plus the fact that genetics is something that you can't change. And look, just because they have a six-pack does not mean that if they had a high percentage body fat, that would necessarily hinder their performance. More likely than not, what would actually happen is they would be performing just as well, even if they had a bit of extra body fat. But what you see is a shredded body, high performance, you put those two together and you think that's what you need to achieve, that's what you need to obsess over. And that's not necessarily the case. The truth is that for many, okay, perhaps you right now as well watching this, is that trying to achieve those aesthetic goals will come at a price, and that price will be some performance. Okay, that's just a fact. If you're trying to achieve those levels of being lean, performance will take a bit of a hit, most likely, because you're not focusing on those things that are going to be important for boosting performance. You're focusing on nutrition programming and training for an aesthetic goal. And like I said, they can fall on different sides of the spectrum when it comes to this. And that's why you can't really truly optimize one without compromising other for most individuals. So no, you don't necessarily need to be leaner to be a better athlete. Doesn't work that way. Now, of course, when I'm talking about all this, I'm talking about those, lower end body fat percentages. I'm not talking about if you're, around, a lower end body fat percentage compared to if you're overweight or obese. That's not what I'm talking about here. Of course, if you carry a high percent body fat, it's going to make it harder for you because you're going to have to carry that weight over a period of time. What I'm simply saying is that focusing on being as shredded as possible and thinking that's going to make you a better athlete, thinking that you have to get a six-pack to be a better athlete, that is just not necessarily the case, and that's something that you have to stop obsessing over and start focusing on seeing the bigger picture. Okay, that's all I'm saying here. You can't let this preoccupation about being as lean as possible take precedence over performance if you know that you're trying to be the best athlete possible. Because it can potentially be a distraction from the focus that you need to have on the specific metrics you need to assess on how you're growing to determine if you're actually enhancing your performance to the right level. Now, of course, in some sports such as bodybuilding and gymnastics and those sort of things, there is a performance edge for being aesthetic and being lean as possible. I get that. But for most, being lean is not a causative thing when it comes to being lean and performance. It's more correlative. Okay, that's what you need to understand. Plus, things aren't always as they seem. Okay, we only see the surface level when we look at these athletes. So you can't be judging them on their situation, going that will apply to me, because there's so many differential, there are many multifactorial things there that you have to consider that you won't even know about. So start embracing some more perspective in your own life and eliminating that comparison. Okay, eliminating that comparison from your life, because it's going to be a much better situation for you. And to wrap things up, it needs to be said that athletes have enough pressure on them as it is. Okay, if you're an athlete, if you're a weekend warrior, you've got this extra pressure on yourself. Having that extra pressure of aiming for this ideal body that you've seen on an athlete, you feel like you need to have that body to be able to perform like them. That's just adding extra undue pressure on yourself and potentially leading to self-esteem issues. And then there's enough of that in the athletic world that we don't need more of it. Okay, so start embracing your body, start thinking about what your body can do, and start finding a happy medium where you can achieve, where you can attain realistically, but also without compromising on what is important for you. Okay, now, so if it's aesthetics, okay, but if it's performance, you've got to understand these things. So I hope this has been helpful in doing so. Stop thinking you need to be perfect, stop comparing yourself to the ideal, and start focusing more on you and what your unique body can do, where you feel happy doing so. Okay, so now you know the truth behind this, that being as lean as possible is not necessarily a direct contributor to higher performance in your sport. But like I said, for many, it naturally comes with being a byproduct, okay, from being that active and living that lifestyle. So don't obsess over it, don't stress over it, enjoy your sport, be active, live a healthy life, and you may find you just get to that level of lean that you are happy with, without obsessing and without compromising your performance too much. So tell me in the comments, are you yourself trying to get leaner, and why are you trying to do so? Okay, let's generate some perspective here. So comment below, tell me, why are you trying to get lean if you are doing so? And now if you watch this video and you want to know what's next for you, if you want to know what to do to get your hands on an approach that will truly work towards making you a better athlete, by helping you harness a more flexible lifestyle focus when it comes to nutrition, and not obsess over the things that don't matter, well, I can help you there. No matter if you're a pro level athlete, amateur, or just a weekend warrior, if you need help with your nutrition, if you need to get from point A to point B, and you want my help in doing so, simply send me an email and say, I'm ready. Send it to alexa@theclimatedietitian.com.au. Now, as always, if this video has been helpful, hit the like button, show this video some love. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. Stay classy. I'll see you next time. Have a good one.